How do you decide the number of executors for a Spark job? This is a very, very good interview question. Now, the decision depends on a lot of factors. So it depends on your cluster size. It depends on number of cores that you have in each node in the cluster. It depends on your workload size. It depends on how much data you are sharing in terms of cache and all that stuff, right? But to make it simpler, let us say you have a cluster with 5 nodes and each node has, let's say, 16 cores. Okay. Now, potentially on every node, you can run about 15 executors, where every executor is, let's say, running one task each. Okay. So potentially you can run 15 into 5, 75 executors. But is that a good choice? Not really. Because the reason is, if you run just one task per executor, that means any broadcast variables or any data that you want to send across the cluster to all the executors, it will have 75 copies, right? Which is not a good idea, which means you are going to use memory very heavily. Generally, it is a very good idea to have about 4 to 5 tasks per executor, which means if you keep 5 tasks per executor, on every node, you can run about 3 executors. That will consume about 15 cores. You can leave 1 core for the OS and other processes. So if you have 3 executors on, let's say, every node with 5 tasks per executor, then you can simply run 15 executors on your 5 node cluster, right? But it also depends on your data volume and the workload that you're gonna process using this Spark job. If your workload is not big enough for 15 executors, you can in fact live with less as well. But the most important factor in deciding the number of executors is going to be your number of cores available in the cluster and number of cores available per node. Okay.